So this is in the series of Are you ready to buy your last? Are you ready to buy your last turntable? Assuming you've already owned previous turntables, right? Now I already have done Are you ready to buy your last speaker? And Are you ready to buy your last amplifier? Now those I think are the easiest ones to talk about. Are you ready to buy your last? Because those categories don't change too quickly. You could buy, a speaker today and be happy for the next 30 years. That's not hard to imagine, and it's same for amplifiers. With turntable, this one today is a little trickier, but not really. One of my closest friends, Gene, has had an LP12 for 30-something years. He's not changing. He never calls me up and says, Steve, what am I going to do? Should I get it? He's happy. He's content. He's not going anywhere. And he plays records all the time. He's a happy camper with his Lin LP12. So there's that. But in terms of moving forward, I've consulted the experts, and they all say the safest thing to do, and probably the smartest thing to do, is to buy a new turntable, not to buy a used vintage turntable. And definitely don't buy one on eBay or Craigslist or anything, because these turntables are too fussy to buy from somebody like that. Now, if you have a friend who you know takes perfect care of his turntable and stuff, yeah, sure, that's easy. But when you're buying a turntable from a stranger, no, buy new. That's the expert advice. Now, I will talk about one exception in a little bit, but for now, let's talk about the ones that would make sense. Now, I knew right off the top of my head that I would start by saying Riga. Riga turntables are simple, easy to set up. They don't go out of adjustment very often. They're beautiful looking. They're elegant. They're made in the UK. I sold probably hundreds of them when I was a hi-fi salesman, and some friends of mine have bought new ones recently and seem extremely happy with them. So Riga is like my go-to recommendation for a new turntable. And the sweet spot in the line is probably the latest version of the RP6, but the RP3 is really good. Then there's Musical, and Musical, the 7, the MMF7, I guess it is, also comes highly recommended. And of course, Technics, the new SL1500 is also on this list. If you don't want to mess with a belt drive turntable like the Riga or the Musical, a direct drive Technics, it's classic, it's solid. They've certainly withstood the test of time. There's gazillions of them out there. And now they even look nice. They don't look like DJ turntables. So that's a big plus, I would think. So those are easy. Then, of course, there's the Dr. Fikert turntables. I've heard nothing but good things about Dr. Fikerts. So those are solid brands, highly recommended. Basically, you can't go wrong. Those are easy to recommend. And of course, then there's VPI. VPI tables, handcrafted in New Jersey by craftsmen who care. Yeah, of course, you should check those out. Check out their website. I will link to all these new companies and others directly below. But VPI should be on your short list of turntables to consider. Now, we did talk a little bit about vintage. Oh, I want to talk about my last turntable. My last turntable, because I've done it, and I can't say anything else that I have or would even dream about is my last, except the turntable. And a couple of years ago, I bought an SME 15 with an SME 309 arm on it. That is solidly, definitely my last turntable. It's a great product, sounds fantastic. It's beautiful, beautifully made, feels really great in my hands. Highly, highly, highly recommended. But in terms of buying vintage, well, the thing is, first of all, buying vintage turntables from a stranger on Craigslist or eBay don't do that. Don't go there. Buying it from a friend who's taking good care of their turntables, sure. But there is an online company called Vinyl Nirvana. They specialize in vintage turntables. And that's the other thing. They know how to pack a turntable. If you buy a turntable from somebody, a 40-year-old turntable from somebody on Craigslist, surviving the trip by UPS or FedEx is kind of iffy. Even if it started out pretty good, it probably won't get to your place intact, fully intact, right? But a specialist like Vinyl Nirvana knows how to pack and ship turntables. And that's what they do. They restore vintage turntables, specifically Thorens and Acoustic Research turntables. They're not crazy money. They look really cool. I remember owning Thorens earlier in my audiophile life. Again, very, very nice. And Vinyl Nirvana comes highly recommended by people who actually know. So, buying the last turntable, yeah, I would say it's a possibility, but you should probably stick with new if you want the smoothest ride of all. Get a new turntable. If you're into the vintage thing, okay, but buy it from somebody who really specializes in turntable, not just an audio dealer who has some turntables laying around or something. So if you've done it already, if you've already purchased your last turntable, I want to hear about it. We want to hear about it. So tell us all about it in the comments section below. If you're just getting into vinyl, if you're just getting into vinyl, you shouldn't be thinking about buying your last turntable. You should probably build up to that point where you're going to buy your last one. But if you're just getting into vinyl and you've had really good experiences or not really good experiences learning about the ways of vinyl, again, tell us all about that in the comments section directly below. I think my work here is done. If you like what I do, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. Share these videos, at least the ones that you like. Give them thumbs up. And tell all your friends, all your audiophile friends, so many audiophile friends, just tell them about the Audiophiliac Daily Show just in case they have missed it up to this point. You can also follow me on Twitter at Audiophiliac Man. Thanks so much for watching.